Yuzhevsky's experience in conspiratorial work came into great use. He transported Petlura from one apartment to another, and then finally managed to organize him leaving Poland and heading for Paris in 1923. Unfortunately, just 3 years later, Petlura would be assassinated there by a Ukrainian Jew, Shlomo Schwarzbard, publicly claimed that Petlura was responsible for the atrocities of the Ukrainian People's Republic against the local Jewish population, including his family. The French public opinion believed those claims, and it affected the trial that took place later, and he was freed. But later on, documents appeared, and it seems that it was probably just a cover story, and that Schwarzbard had actually just been an agent of Ogpu, predecessor of or precursor of the KGB. So Yuzhevsky's friendship with Petlura ended abruptly. Their relationship could have been very useful later on when Yuzhevsky was the voivode, the governor of the Volhynian region. As the National Democracy Camp came to power in 1923, which was the reason for why Petlura had to leave Poland altogether, Yuzhevsky also took a step back from public life. And he was gone for 3 years up until 1926. Then we had the May coup when Józef Piłsudski came back to power, and with him more pro-Ukrainian policies. In 1928, he made his friend Yuzhevsky the governor of Volhynia, and gave him a very specific task, which was to capture the hearts and minds of the Ukrainians in Volhynia, and also to put a stop to this aggressive form of nationalism that stood in stark opposition to the Polish state that had developed in the neighboring Galicia region. He believed that the way to do it was to give the Ukrainians as much autonomy as possible for them to embrace the Polish state. So he expanded, for example, Ukrainian language education from 8 schools in Volhynia that had been where education was conducted only in the Ukrainian language. That grew to more than 300 during his time as governor. Also, the number of schools in which both Polish and Ukrainian was taught increased significantly. He tried to help the Ukrainian Catholic Church as much as possible as well. Again, here we come back to this difference between Volhynia and Galicia that I spoke about in a previous program. With Volhynia having been a part of the Russian Empire before the First World War, while Galicia was a part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, there was this line called the Sokolnicka border. It was an informal line that previously was naturally the state boundary between the Russian Empire and the Austro-Hungarian Empire. After Poland had reappeared on the map, it was all Poland, so there was no longer any border. But the border between these two regions was nevertheless maintained in an informal way. And this is something that Yuzhevsky also maintained as his time as a governor. It meant that certain organizations that were active in Galicia, Ukrainian activist organizations, such as Prosvita, they weren't able to register their organizations in Volhynia. They had a very difficult time to establishing themselves there. This was naturally an attempt to try to stop this Galician form of Ukrainian nationalism to come to Volhynia. He was very well liked by the Ukrainians in his region. He brought back a lot of his friends from his time as minister in the Ukrainian People's Republic. and used various people that had been on those positions before in the Ukrainian People's Republic and gave them new jobs in Volhynia, trying to build bridges between the Poles and the Ukrainians. He also was their voice in Warsaw, so there was a lot of lobbying efforts that he would travel back and forth to Warsaw and try to improve the situation for his region as much as possible.
Adam, as usual, the clock in the corner of the room has defeated us. I'm going to have to ask you to pause there, but we will pick it up next time. I've had to ask Adam to pause, but fear not, if you join us next time on Poland Daily History, as we hope you will, we'll pick up the story. Until then, thank you very much for watching.